Hello guys, this week we are going to continue working on the book because we have to move on with the topics we have to study for this semester. So, this week we are going to study the grammar topic about noun clauses as subjects that you can find on page 98 from your book. That's why we are going to start with the explanation of noun clauses and noun clauses as subjects. First of all, do you know what a clause is? Well, a clause is a group of words that can include a subject and a verb. A clause can function as an adjective, as an adverb, or as a noun. For example, we have that a clause is a group of words that functions as part of a speech and can include a subject and a verb. So as I told you before, can function as an adjective. For example, my friend who has autism is brilliant at quizzes. In this case, we have that this is describing the friend, right? So that's why it's an adjective. We also can have clauses as nouns. For example, I cannot remember what happened last night. So this what happening is the thing that this guy cannot remember. That's why it's a noun. And finally, he put on weight when he stopped running. So in this case could be an adverb because it's describing the way this guy is running. So we can have that a clause, which is a sentence, let's say a little sentence, which has a subject and a verb, could be within, right? Could be within, inside another sentence. That's why we have here that can work as an adjective, noun, or an adverb. In this case, this week we are going to focus on the noun clauses. So what is a noun clause? A noun clause is a dependent clause or a sentence, remember, that has a subject and verb that acts as a noun. And they commonly start with these words. Pay attention because you can identify a noun clause by using these words. For example, how, that, what, whatever, when, where, whether, which, whichever, who, whoever, whom, whomever, and why. But pay attention because in this case, we are not using these words for making questions. No, we are going to make sentences, declarative sentences that are not questions using these words. Let's see how it works. For example, we have that noun clauses can be subjects, can be objects, can be subject complements or adjective complements. So for example, in this case, we have this word that is what's, but it's not a question. We said, what is painful is the hot coffee. So we have that this noun clause is the subject of this sentence. You can see here, all of this is the noun, and here we have a verb, and then we have the predicate. So in this case, we have this is the noun, this is the verb connecting the two sentences, and this is the predicate. So we are going to focus just on this part this week. So now we are going to start with noun clauses as subjects, that is the topic of the book. For example, have you seen that movie Inception? In that movie Inception, you can have a dream inside a dream. Remember that? So in this case, we are saying that you can have a sentence inside a sentence. That's when we say a clause. A clause means like a sentence, so you have a sentence inside a sentence. For example, when you say this happens when you have a noun clause as a subject. In this case, we are going to see how a clause could be the subject of a sentence. Let's pay attention to this example. Whatever you do is fine. But now let's decompose this sentence. So we have that the noun clause is whatever you do. Until this part, this is the noun clause. So we have that whatever you is the subject and do is the verb. Remember that a clause is composed by a noun and by a verb. Let's say, so this is the sentence within or inside a bigger sentence. So whatever you do is the noun clause and is fine is the predicate of that sentence. So whatever you do is fine. Subject and predicate. All of this is a subject and this is the predicate. Let's see some other examples. By using the word what. What the girl was wearing amazed the public. Can you identify which is the noun clause and what is the predicate? Well, the noun clause as a subject is the blue sentence. So we have what the girl was wearing. All of this is a noun clause as a subject the because we have the noun and we have the verb. But this sentence, this clause is inside another sentence, a bigger sentence. So we have what the girl was wearing. All of this is making an action. What action? Amazing the public. So that's why we said a noun clause as a subject. All of this sentence in blue is amazing the public, as you can see. Look at this example. How he looked at me gave me chills. So can you identify which is the noun clause and what is the predicate? Well, as well in the previous example we have how he looked at me is a complete sentence, but at the same time is a noun, which is making the action of giving me chills. That the monster killed everyone in the movie was predictable. Can you identify the noun clause as a subject and the predicate? Well, that the monster killed everyone in the movie, well, it's a long sentence, but anyway, all this sentence is being taken as a subject. I mean, all of this sentence is making the action of being predictable. So this is the predicate. Finally, we have whoever made this cake is a real artist. Can you identify as well the noun clause as subject and the predicate? Well, whoever made this cake, in this case, is the subject because he's making the action of being a real artist. So in this case, this is the predicate. So as you could see, you can make these kind of clauses working as a noun or working as subject by using these words, but not as questions, but as subjects. I hope you understood this topic. Well, let's practice to understand more. Now let's take a look at the exercise from page 98 in the book. In here we have a conversation in which you can probably identify the noun clauses as subjects. Let's see.
Unemployment is a real problem for young people these days. What's really difficult for them is getting their first job, because employers always look for people with work experience.
That's right. And if you don't have experience, you can't get a job in the first place. It's really unfair. What students need is good work experience while they're in school, so they have a better chance of getting a job after they leave.
That's a good point. How students prepare for work is so important. Who gets the best job very often depends on already having the right skills and experience.
Yes, I agree. And where you get your first job can influence your whole future career.
So, maybe you could identify some of these sentences that are noun clauses as subjects. For example, we have what's really difficult for them is getting their first job. So in this case, you can see that this is the noun clause, which has a noun and a verb, right? And as well, this is part of another sentence, another clause that is getting their first job. This is the predicate. The same case, we have what students need. Yeah, all of this is the subject of this sentence. It's good work experience while they're in school. So that is another example of a noun clause. In here we have another. How students prepare for work is so important. What is so important? All of this. This is the subject of this complete sentence. How students prepare for work. In the same way we have who gets the best job very often depends on already having the right skills and experience. So we have a long sentence, but this first part is the noun clause acting as subject. And finally we have where you get your first job can influence your whole future career. In here we are also using a noun clause as a subject because where you get your first job is the subject of the whole sentence connected by the verb can. So who is making the action of can influence your whole future career? Where you get your first job. That is the function of the noun clauses as subjects.